I talk to so many people in learning and development who don't do evaluation, which is how you actually help to define the value that you're bringing to the organization.
That word learning in that case, if we're talking to people in the workplace, that is like that pill. It's like they're going to pour that down the drain because they see it as a cost center.
You have to figure out how to give someone their medicine in a way that they're going to take it and not realize that they're taking it. All right, friends. Hi, welcome. It's your friends, Jim and Vanessa, back again. How are you? Hi, Jim.
Hi, Vanessa.
So, I don't know if anyone is ready for today. I don't think Jim is ready, but before we get started, I want to give a quick Kirkpatrick update. So we have officially launched the Kirkpatrick community. This is your hub for learning and performance mastery. In the community, we have daily and weekly check-ins with our dedicated community manager, access to industry-specific forums and chats, access to our resource library, monthly co-working sessions, quarterly Q&As with some of our Kirkpatrick Partners experts, including someone who might be on this call right now, quarterly industry-related events and special guests, as well as discounts on products and services. We are currently running a special founder's price plus a further discount for our year-end sale. So you don't want to miss this unbelievably inexpensive price to get access to an amazing community and really putting all of that work that you all are doing into action and getting that support and accountability. Next, we also have government year-end deals and savings that are live. So we've got discounts on certification programs, consulting, and impact studies. We just completed one and it was, I'm not going to lie, chef's kiss. So you really want to see how well you all are doing on your mission critical programs. Well, we're your folks. And of course, we have curriculum design support as well to make sure that we are really implementing the Kirkpatrick model from the beginning and giving you a performance package. So you're doing all the levels through your design. And then all of that information will be on our website. So make sure you visit our website in the show notes for more. And as a reminder, we are on the GSA schedule. So if you want ease of access to purchase from Kirkpatrick Partners, GSA is your friend. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not remind you all, there is still time to get certified in person with us in September. This is September 4th through the 6th in Dulles, Virginia. It is not one to miss. It is going to be 2 days of certification program and then a special bonus day that you never get. And that is time to work with a Kirkpatrick consultant on your blended evaluation plan. It will be an experience not to miss, give you a little taste of what to look forward to in 2025 for the Kirkpatrick Summit in case you weren't there. But make sure you check us out in September. And if you missed our recent webinar, Are You Doing Kirkpatrick Right? You can catch a replay now, but just click the link in the show notes. Whew. So with that, Jim, it is time. You're about to meet her. This is me a little unhinged. So friends, let me tell you a little bit about how this episode came into play. I love a good walk. And if you ever see the image of like your brain on walks and being active versus sitting and how it's like on fire, you physically see that in me. Either if you're on my Instagram story and I decide to go on Instagram stories and just go on a rant, or you're one of my team members that I get to call early in the morning and I just start to go off. And so a couple of days ago, I was on a walk in my new community and I called Danielle, who does our marketing, and we were doing our marketing touch base. And then she's like, anything else on Kirkpatrick? Because we go through all of the brands one by one. And I was like, yeah, I have a lot of things to say. And just went off about what I think about learning and evaluation. And just, it seems to be the same conversation that I'm having over and over again. And so I just wanted to bring it to you. So Jim, are you ready?
I'm excited. I'm a little nervous, but I am ready. Go for it.
All right.
I'm with you.
So here's the thing. Every day I'm seeing someone losing their job in learning and development. Every single day. Right now, this is just The economy ain't it, you know? And what's wild to me is I think that there's multiple reasons, and so I don't want to discount multiple reasons for, reduction in force, right? Some of it is not preventable from the learning and development department. But somehow, for some reason, that department is literally notoriously always the one to get cut. And yet, I talk to so many people in learning and development who don't do evaluation, which is how you actually help to define the value that you are bringing to the organization to help save your department. Like, this is wild to me. How are we at a place still today where we don't do the evaluation? And I think what's so interesting to me is that we want to place blame on everybody else, but we don't take ownership, right? Well, my manager or my senior leader won't let us do level 3 or won't let us talk to so-and-so, to talk to our learners. And I'm like, okay, maybe they won't. Why can't you start with a small program that you do have the control over and show them how it can be done on a bigger scale? I think often we want to eat the elephant instead of just doing it one bite at a time. So, for example, if I want to showcase the value of measuring all the levels and providing a performance package and doing more things than just developing training, right? Doing the required drivers like we talk about in level 3 and creating the support. Why can't I start with my team and show how that is possible on the small scale? So I will stop that there. What do you think?
Well, my first question is the emotion. What was fueling that emotion? Because I understand what you're saying, but you were really upset.
I think I'm upset because I see really good people losing their jobs. And so that makes me sad. And it makes me sad because I'm part of the industry, right? So it affects us too, right? And when economies go down, your learning and development businesses suffer. I talk to business owners in this industry all the time because we're not really showcasing our value, or we also don't have others that are helping to showcase the value, right? And so it's not like we can do all that we can to showcase value, but we need everyone to be doing this work, right? It can't just be a few people. And so I think it's frustration because it's the same conversation over and over. And it reminds me of the question we got at the International Society of Performance Improvement Conference, when we did the evaluation panel with all of the other evaluation models. And so the last question was, where do you see us in 5 years? And do you remember what I said?
Right where we are.
Yeah, exactly where we are. Because we've been talking about this you probably were talking about this 5 years ago, at least, right? And we just don't want to change our own behavior, but we want everybody else to.
Good point.
So I think that's where that comes into play.
And I get upset. I have my emotion time too, but to be honest, it's never directed towards any particular person that is doing something or not doing something. It is towards our industry, the learning industry, the formal learning, the formal training industry. I mean, there's a lot of people that are realizing we need to train differently and on the job and all that, but the ones that are just desperately holding on to the past, that the learning is sufficient to get the job done, and we want you to invest in all these LMSs and all these things that focus specifically on learning, and the conferences and the expo halls. So much of it is that, but it's just not the truth. The learning is absolutely essential, but insufficient to get the job done. And it is our industry. And when I ask them, what's the first to get cut? They say, well, training is like it's a foregone conclusion. Now, the issue is it's our own fault because we're staying in the past. But the good news is if we're responsible for it, we can do something to change it. We're not the
Mhm.
victims of something that is
Mhm.
unchangeable, is what I hear you saying.
Yeah. I think that there's I think what's interesting, and to your point about learning, is that because we are the learning profession, right? And we can be so academic, it's almost to our detriment.
Say more about
It,
that. That's good.
yeah. So when I think of um when I'm speaking to a CEO or a COO or someone in the business, if I'm talking to them about learning objectives and how the brain works and this and that, like it's going to go over their head, right over. And frankly, they don't care. A lot of them don't care. Or they don't, what I want to say, they don't care. I think there's plenty that do. There's just so much other things going on. Like that's why they hired you. They hired you to know how the brain works. But when you are working with them, what they care about is how that connects to the outcomes of the business. And so we've got to be talking the language of the business, to your point, right? You've got to be bilingual. I love that.
They think
And
it's irrelevant to them, necessary but irrelevant. Keep going.
right, exactly. And so I think we do that to your point, like our detriment, right? We want to be the smartest one in the room. And we want to continue to push, but like, no, you don't need this, or no, you don't need that. And this is all the data and the research and the why. No. What you can do though is you have to figure out how to give someone their medicine in a way that they're going to take it and not realize that they're taking it. And that's where what we're not good at as an industry, right? It's like
Right,
I have to give my
right,
kids medicine. Half the
right.
time they're trying to spit it out. My daughter, my oldest one, had pneumonia a couple years ago. I caught her spilling out the medicine. And I'm like freaking out. I'm like, I would give it to her like in like the little cup, and silly me, but busy mom. I wasn't paying attention. I assumed she gave me back the empty cup. She took it. Then I found out that she was pouring it down the drain. Why? Because it tasted bad. Now, of course, we all know how serious pneumonia is, and her doctor did not find it until one whole lung was covered with it. So it was kind of a serious situation. And I realized that the bad was on me because I was giving it to her and not realizing she doesn't realize the importance of it. She doesn't realize like how life or death pneumonia is, and nor should she at 5 years old. Um, I need to be the adult, and I need to be the one that figures out how to get her the medicine. So you know what I did?
What?
Okay, kind of quiet. I got a cupcake. I took the icing off. I put the medicine into the icing, and I popped it right back on the cupcake. And you want to know what she did? She ate
What?
the cupcake, and she got the medicine.
And she got
Now,
rid of the pneumonia.
and the pneumonia went away. I've done it with juice. I've done it with other things. You've got to serve people their medicine without realizing that they're taking medicine. And that's what it is. You know what I mean? It's not, and you're not doing it like in a sneaky, malicious way, but you know that like we don't want to do the hard things. We want to do the sexy things, or the things that are fast, or the things that are going to be an immediate return on investment. And the fact of the matter is, in order to get there, you've got to take medicine. And if you're not going to be able to just swallow the pill, or take the really disgusting chalky medicine, we'll put it into something else and then feed it to them and watch the return happen.
Oh, I like that a lot. And now here's where I take that based on what you're also saying is when we are constantly talking about learning, and we're on a learning journey, the
Yeah.
organization's on a learning journey, and we are learning providers and we have learning solutions. That's that word learning in that case, if we're talking to people in the workplace, that is like that pill.
Mhm.
It's like they're going to pour that down the drain because they see it as a cost center, necessary evil, and it really doesn't have anything to do with them. So we can still have the cupcake with the pill in it if we talk about a learning and performance journey. I'm not
Mhm.
anti-learning, but I'm anti-learning when that's what we're talking about, using that word over and over. That is a turnoff
Yeah.
for people on the other side. So your principle is wonderful. We have to be able to make sure people know that they will be your people will be continued to learn in order to perform better. I think they have to be savvy, just like you.
Yeah. It takes time and practice, you know what I mean? But I think that's where when we're talking about like what do I need to learn, you need to learn business and you need to learn the language of the business. You have to learn strategy, you have to learn consulting because learning how to storyboard something or write a perfect learning objective is great for yourself and the outcomes. But really, if you want to be able to move the needle and start to change the ship, you've got to learn the business side of things too. And I think that we really don't do that enough and have those direct conversations of like, how are you getting that? Like, how are you figuring this out? How are you getting your people to care? So we don't know where to go. We don't know who to ask. And I'm going to shamelessly plug it, but that's the reason that we built the community. Because people didn't know how to integrate evaluation. And they were like, I don't know who to talk to. I'm the only one that is Kirkpatrick certified. I'm the only one that does evaluation in my organization. So I have nowhere else to turn. So what do? Revert back to what feels comfortable
Right.
because I have no idea who to turn to ask. So I'm going to say, join the community. That is why we're here. You know, you've got to know who to ask to be able to do these things. And like as a community, we can then help to course correct and change the ship.
You know what, Vanessa? You also have the added advantage that you are, you have a good working knowledge of AI. You work with it, and to
Yeah.
me, AI can create a desperate situation here if your people are not seeing the value of learning, and they're thinking that AI can replace people who are developing and delivering formal training. That's the added danger. But what you're saying is, no, we need the learning, the performance, the AI together. And that's what I think is unique about the Kirkpatrick community, that we are not just pro performance or pro AI or pro learning. It is the package that is the future of our industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me, what are you hot under the collar about these days?
I, I got to tell you the truth. What wakes me up at night is the big fish that I lost in my lake. No, I'm just kidding. It is really the people's faces that come to my mind that are doing their very best. We work with people all over the world, and I see their face. They are absolutely wanting to make a difference. They're wanting to be recognized for what they're doing, and I see those faces, and they haunt me because I know that the system is set up to not help them be successful. The system
Mm,
is set up to say, we want you to stay in your role as a learning professional, and I just feel bad because they better get their resumes ready to do something else because that could be what's in store for them. And
mhm.
that's what bothers me is those faces of people that I know are kind of stuck in the treadmill of learning only.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I love what you said there is a product of the system in which they were taught,
Yep.
and that's why we're here to tell you, like, there are a lot of people that are having the same conversation and really trying to make change. And that's why we need to amplify those voices to be able to say, hey, you need to check this stuff out. Because that's where the change really happens is by amplifying those that are saying these things and making and showing you can prove value, you can save your job, you can save your department, but you gotta know what your value is. And it's not just
Yep.
monetarily,
Right.
right? Well, this training, created this percentage of impact. Like, I don't know. I was just on a call with a customer of mine, and they were like, "Well, we just get this." Speaking of hot under the collar, this makes me so sad for them. So when I started working with them in February, uh, one of the other instructional designers got pulled to another project. And she's like, she's got to work on this project. It's like mission critical, and we've got to get this done. Okay. This is February. So we're now in July, end of July, at time of recording. And I'm on the phone with them yesterday, and they're like, yeah, that project is at risk right now. And I'm like, what do you mean that project's at risk? Like you just started it and you're about to launch the first one in like a week. How is it at risk already? And she's like, well, we're not really able to prove like we haven't built in the value and we're already talking about cutting budgets and things like that. And that's the project that's at risk. All of that time spent on something that is now at risk because throughout the years you haven't been able to show the value that you've been able to bring to the organization because I see how the sausage is made. There's not a lot of level 3 or level 4 evaluation happening. And it's not a small company, right? So I think a lot of people think that like these really large billion-dollar organizations, are doing the evaluation. Like it's no one has it all totally figured out. And everyone is learning, but the fact is that they continue to get reductions in their budget, in their people, because they have not built in proper evaluation to be
Yeah.
able to say, here are the things that we've been able to do. Here are the success stories, like so and so has been able to grow, in their career because of the foundation we were able to provide. We don't track any of that.
Yes.
We just want to sit behind the computer and create the next, virtual instructor-led training. Talk to the people.
And Vanessa, that what you just described is not the mission of the organization. Okay, but it is the steps towards that. And
Mm-hmm.
I think when people take some courage and go beyond what is tradition into territory that they have been afraid to go into, and that's the work performance, and they have success. Success will breed success. And what we want to do, and part of our community, is to put the light on them, not on us, and say, look, you say it can't be done. Look what they did here. Look what they did here. It was and we want to follow those ambassadors, the believers, and take heart from them and know that it can be done. And right, part of this community is going to be not just us teaching them, but sharing the successes that are typically level 3 successes,
Mm-hmm.
performance successes that people are saying, you're not who we thought you were. We thought you were a cost center, a training person. Now we know that you're here to help my people do their job better. That
Yeah.
will then lead to more of the same.
And I'm going to leave you all with this. A lot of CEOs, as one myself, and I know Jim, you've owned businesses as well. Like, the adage is you've got to spend money to make money. So the fact that we believe that, the only thing is that training is a cost center and it's got to get cut. There are also plenty of CEOs that if you can prove, hey, you've got to spend and invest in people to make money,
Yep.
there are other areas to cut back on or to adjust before you cut this. Do that first. Because if you continue to weather the storm with your learning department, your learning and performance department intact, it will help you because all we do is we cut LMP, we know this, right? You cut them, you have to spend it anyway. So they end up spending it, with companies like Anchored Training, right? Like you end up hiring us to do the outsourcing. So it still has to get done.
Right.
And then you hire one back again. And then you're just in this loop, right? Of like downturn in the economy, let everyone go, bring everyone back when things are starting to get better, instead of saying, you know what, maybe there's other strategies in other areas because we know that this is a department that you can't have an organization without some sort of learning and performance department. So we've got to figure out how to make it viable so they stay even in the downturn in economies.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm really glad that we did this. You just kind of you know told me about it just yesterday
Yeah.
and thought, well, let's do it. It's terrific.
Yeah. Well, friends, I appreciate you being part of my morning rants. Maybe in the future we'll do this while we're on a walk. So you really get some of the Vanessa in the wild,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
will.
I'd like to see that.
Mhm. Yes. Well, appreciate you all. Let us know your thoughts on this topic and why you think that, L&D is always the first department to get cut and what we can do in order to save our departments. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. And we will see you all on the next one. Bye.
Bye, everybody.